Hello, students. Welcome to another class of entrepreneurship. The topic for today's class is do's and don'ts while preparing a survey form. Students, in our previous class, we had studied what is a survey, why a survey is done, and how it is done. In this class today, we will continue our study further. Dear students, the lesson objective for today's class is at the end of this class, you should be able to explain the factors which must be considered while preparing a survey. Dear students, while conducting a survey, we always have a goal in our mind. That is what we want to know from the survey. A survey will be fruitful only if the respondents are able to give honest opinion. So we should keep in mind several factors while preparing survey questions. The survey should be easy to understand. It should not be testing a respondent's IQ or a respondent's command over English vocabulary. So students, we will learn all these factors in detail today. So before starting our class, please take out your entrepreneurship textbook and refer to your second chapter to the topic 2.62, that is good survey questions. Dear students, now let us see what good survey questions should have. The first point is use simple words. So students, when you are preparing survey questions, you should make sure that the words which you are using are simple and easy to understand. That is, commonly used words. Suppose you are preparing a survey in English language, you should always use those English words which are commonly used by people. The reason for this is because English may not be the mother tongue of all the respondents who are taking the survey. So some people's mother tongue may be English and they may be very good with English language. But people with different mother tongues, who have Assamese as mother tongue or Hindi or some other language or Latin or French, they may not have a very good command over English words. So in that case, you should always use simple English words or simple words of that particular language which are commonly used, so that the respondents can understand your questions easily and they can give accurate feedback. The next point is relax your grammar. Now again, similar to the first point, you should always use standard grammatical form. Like you should not use sentences with very complex grammar so that people are not able to understand. Always use simple grammatical questions so that people can understand and they can give their honest feedback. The third point is assure a common understanding. Now while preparing survey questions, you should try to understand that the questions which you make should be understood by all. Do not assume that everyone has the same understanding of the facts or common basis of knowledge. Always use commonly used abbreviations to ascertain that everyone understands. Now suppose you are conducting a survey about some medicine and you are only taking the responses of doctors in the survey. So in that case, you can use some complex medical terms or abbreviations, because as your respondents are only doctors and they are from the same background or same knowledge level, so you can expect them to know all these complex terms. So in that case, that is okay. But suppose you are conducting a survey which is open for everyone, and there is no specific educational requirement to take part in the survey. So in that case, you should always use those words or concepts which everyone knows. Right? You cannot expect a common man to know something about medicine. He may know, but not everyone will know. Similarly, if you are conducting some study or about the space or planets or some solar system and everything, and you are conducting this survey only with people who are associated with space research, then it is okay. You can use complex words or complex terminologies or words which are used in space research. But if you are doing a survey which is for common people, you should make sure that the basic understanding, the minimum basic knowledge which a common person has, should be used in the question, so that people with different backgrounds or different education standards, education qualification are able to understand. Now the last one is start with interesting questions. Now this is very important. So many a times it happens that people take part in a survey and they find it boring and they quit halfway. It has happened with me several times. I take part in several surveys online and I answer 4-5 questions and I get bored and then I quit. So you should always make sure that your survey is having interesting questions, and especially in the beginning, so that the respondent sticks to your survey and completes the survey. Never start with very boring questions or questions which are not very important to the respondent. Always start with simple, interesting questions and which respondent want to give their feedback. Dear students, now let us see the next factor which we should keep in mind. The next factor is don't make the list of choices too long. So students, when you are asking any survey question to any respondent, you should make sure that your choices should not be too many and it should not be too long. Now, if the list of answer choices is long and unfamiliar, it is difficult for the respondents to evaluate all of them. So you should keep the list of choices short. Suppose I ask you a question, what do you want for breakfast? And I give you like 50 options. Maybe puri sabji, idli, dosa, poha, bread butter, pizza, noodles, rice. Like suppose there are 50 options, so in that case there is possibility that the respondent will get bored. He will not read all the 50 options and then he will take one or two out of those, like few he will read and then he will take randomly. And then again, so you should make sure that there should not be more than 4 or 5. 5 is okay, still 6, 7 options or 10 options it will make it difficult for the respondent to answer your question. So they will get distracted or get bored. And again, the options which you give should not be too long. Suppose it should not be in the form, like whenever options you give, it should be words. Like what do you want for breakfast is tea. Suppose what do you want for breakfast is coffee. Now it should not be like what do you want for breakfast and then you write the entire menu. I want to have paratha, I want to have paratha with aloo stuffed inside it. I want the aloo to be smashed with then mixed with different spices. It should be less chili, then there should be tomato. So you should not write an entire menu then. Okay, so you should make sure that the options which you are giving should be short and crisp, like 1 or 2 words. And again, the number of options should be limited. If you write too many things, there is possibility that the respondent will not read everything and then he will just give a random answer. Now the next one is avoid difficult concepts. So this is again similar to the previous points which you had kept in mind, which you have checked. So while doing a survey, you should make sure that the questions are easy to understand and the concept is not very complex. If you are conducting a survey only for a particular dedicated group, then it is okay to have complex questions or complex terminology or jargons and all, because in that case your respondent group is like they are well versed with those words or with those jargons. So they are from the same educational background or same professional background, so they already know what to expect and they understand what the questions are being asked. But if you are doing a survey for common people, to try to avoid difficult concepts, you should make sure that the people easily understand your questions and they are able to give honest feedback or honest opinion. So students, with this we complete the factors which we need to keep in mind while conducting a survey. So next time, so in future once you start doing surveys, so while you prepare your survey questions, please make sure to read these points and keep in mind that your survey will be effective or efficient only if the respondents are able to understand what you are asking and you are also giving appropriate and correct options. If the respondent is not able to understand your question, or if he is not able to understand your answer, or the answer which you are giving is not, the options which you are giving to the respondent doesn't cover what the respondent wants to tell or expressed, there is possibility that the results which you get from the survey or the data which you collect from the survey will not be very effective, and you may not be able to achieve your desired goal. Dear students, now once the survey is over, that is, respondents gave the feedback and you have all the data with you, you have to analyze the data, that is, analyze the survey results. So making a questionnaire. So initially we started with like on what topic we will do the research. Then we made the questionnaire. We distributed the questionnaire among the respondents. The questionnaire, as I have said, it can be in the form of a web link, or it can be a paper copy, or it can be sent through email. The respondents gave their feedback or opinion. Now we have all the data with you. So what you are going to do with this data? What you have to do is you have to analyze data. Now, analysis is the process of breaking a complex topic or substance into smaller parts in order to gain a better understanding of it. After your survey is over, you have to analyze the data. That is, once you get all the information with you, you have to work on the information, like what the respondents say, or what is the respondents' view about the survey or about the question you asked. So just by collecting the data and keeping it in your system will not suffice. You have to work on the data. You have to analyze the data. Now there are different ways to analyze the data, like different tools. There are different softwares to analyze the data, and sometimes we can analyze the data using Microsoft Excel as well. So once you analyze the data, you get the important things to know. For example, you conduct the best is like we conducted a survey to know your opinion about NESE online class. Now all the parents gave their feedback. Now suppose we have all the information with us, then using that feedback we have to come to some conclusion. Like if we sit down with the feedback which you have given and do nothing, then the entire survey is of no use. Now we will have to work on the feedback given by you. We have to find out the important things. Like suppose there were like 100. Now suppose this NESE online survey was taken by maybe suppose 100 respondents. Now out of these 100 respondents, maybe suppose 50 respondents said that the online classes, the timing of the online classes should be changed. Now if you just 50%, now how will you know that 50% of the people said that 50 online class timing should be changed? We will come to know only if we analyze the data. That is, analyze the feedback. We have to analyze the feedback or the responses given by you people and your parents. Then only we'll come to know what are the things we'll need to change. For changing of there was a question, if you remember, wherein we asked like rate your child's English communication. Now suppose 80% of the parents say that my child's English communication is poor. Now what is the next thing we have to do? After you get the information, we have to make sure that we are taking more classes in English or giving more practice work to you or for English. So we will get to know all this only once we analyze the data. If we just collect the feedback, sit at home, sleep, then there is no point in conducting a survey. So I believe now you understand why we analyze the survey data or the results obtained from the survey. Students, now the question is, how will you analyze the data? Now there are different tools and softwares to analyze the data. Back in my days when I was a student, I was doing my MBA, I also had done a survey, that is a market research. I had spoken about it in my previous class. So my topic of research was I wanted to find out why sale of extra premium petrol by Indian Oil is less in Tinsukia division. So for that study, I had prepared a questionnaire. I had asked people to fill the questionnaire, and then what I did was I had to analyze the data. So at that time, to analyze the data, I used a software known as SPSS. Now SPSS is a software by IBM. It stands for Statistical Package for the Social Sciences. SPSS is a software package used for statistical analysis. So what I did is, it is similar to Excel. If you can see the images here, so there will be like, once the respondent gives you the feedback, so there were like two options. You had to like give an online form wherein the respondents fill their response and then the data is automatically collected in the software, or the next one was we had to manually fill it. So in my case, at backend, I had done my research maybe back in 2011. So at that time, online was not very popular. So mine was more of an offline survey wherein I had made a questionnaire and I had personally gone to people to asking them to fill it. So once I got all the information, I came back home, set on my system, and I had this software SPSS. I logged into this software and I used to manually feed all the information given by the respondents. And then there were different tools and functions which I used to analyze the data to get the results which I wanted to find out. So students, you will learn about data analysis in your third unit, the next chapter, where we will be analyzing the data of a survey by using Excel, Microsoft Excel. So with this, I am going to complete today's session. I believe it was interesting. So where we learned like the factors which we should keep in mind while conducting a survey, and then also we studied a little bit about analyzing the data. So students, I will sign off here. Please read your textbook, see this video, and ask me what are your questions. I will see you again. Till then, have a great time.